Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which just came out. This would be the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Release from Konami. A lot of danger certainly around looking at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectible card game that's free to play. Definitely chances of it being far too pay to win, or just buggy, or just abandoned, because let's face it, there have been quite a few abandoned collectible card games under the Yu Gi Oh! Banner. Um, but this one does have the slight possibility of feeling like what I remember Yu Gi Oh! To be, whereas the second most recent Yu Gi Oh! Game played a little bit differently. You really could only have like three cards, three monsters on the field. It just didn't feel like you were really playing what what I remember Yu Gi Oh! To be. Of course, there will be new cards. I haven't personally looked at Yu Gi Oh! In a very long time, so like pre-fusion, even. Seriously, I've looked at it here and there. Um, let's see if we can adjust the game settings real quick. Get this at 19 by 1080 full screen mode. The game didn't start in full screen mode, oddly enough. It did. I had to just hit Alt Enter. We don't have any data to transfer or anything like that. Now I can tell you immediately, if you have a PlayStation Network uh, login and you get Master Duels right now, you can get like 50 free packs, which seems a little unfair for playing this on Steam. You have no in progress data? Yes, that would be right. So let's just start a new game. We're going to play in the United States. I also looked at some of the reviews, and one of the things... where should we pick? That seems ridiculous that you would pick a specific country or region of residence. Well, logically, if I'm just going to pick a random place, a random state in the United States, I would probably want to pick the place where I could play the most people, and geographically speaking and population speaking, I would have to assume that that is Texas. So I'll just pick Texas. Seems like a good default. And then we'll pretend like we read the terms of use and privacy policy. That's a lot. Have you read the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga or watched the anime? Um, let's see. This seems like this is an odd survey for no reason. Yes, I've seen the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime enough to understand it. Have you ever played the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card? I played it in the past. Is the right answer for me. What's funny is this wasn't the case in any of the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. The other games just jumped you into the game really fast. Yeah, apparently for this game, multiplayer has no timer, and they're gonna have to patch that really fast, because personally, that could be really annoying with people just not playing. Plus, I personally make that same mistake when I'm live streaming, because I'll play some collectible card game and then I'll be talking about video game news or looking at all the games that came out on Steam in the past couple days. And so I'll get off on a distraction tangent, and I expect the game to just end my turn, or let the other player defeat me. Or if I get really lucky, I expect every now and then for the opponent to just get frustrated and disconnect and surrender. And that's fine as long as the games have timers. If the games have no timers, then Yu-Gi-Oh! Is creating this meta game of just waiting. Like, it could be 15-20 minutes before one of the two players decide to concede, and that wait could just get longer and longer. Have I heard of the app Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which that was the previous game that was a little weird. So why are they kind of asking about the previous game? Because are they coming from the perspective that they failed on Duel Links? Because I think they kind of did. Like, in all honesty, Duel Links tried to be too much of the same thing, frankly. Too much of an anime in mobile game form, and not enough of just a mobile game. And certainly there was a lot of opportunity for microtransactions. Whereas Master Duel here feels like it's going to try and emulate something much closer to Magic the Gathering Arena, where arguably Magic the Gathering Arena and Hearthstone 2, for comparisons, both of those don't have enough story in them, even at the beginning tutorial levels, to explain what's going on in just the general universe. In all fairness, I don't know what the 5th series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about, or the 3rd series, or anything, or even the 2nd series, really. Once they got past the 1st series of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're no longer following Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're in a completely different time or different universe. I think it's almost a multiverse concept. It really... I didn't watch any of that, so I have no idea if that story's important or not. So I guess we'll have longer list of quests here. One of the problems with the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, too, is that the visuals of the cards were awful looking. Konami was just being too cheap and not redrawing the visuals at a high enough level. Alright, so practice duel, learn how to master duel. We get 500 gems, which is probably nothing, and I wouldn't be surprised if the tutorial forces us to use whatever amount of premium currency, which I assume this is, to purchase something, just so that you have to purchase something. I wouldn't be surprised if we get somewhere like 500 gems, and then they make us buy 450 gems worth of product, and then there's nothing available for 50 gems, so you'll just always have 50 gems in your wallet to tempt you to add more to your wallet. Reduce your opponent's life points to 0. Yeah. I might very well want to turn the resolution down even below 1080p. Come to think of it, looking at it now. We'll see. And we're starting with a 2000 LP instead of 4000, which I thought 4000. I felt like it was 2000 originally, and then they changed it to 4000. You've drawn a monster card. I didn't even click or do anything, and it played for me. Let's summon a monster. This is a 4-star monster or below, so we can just summon it to the field. Yeah, in Duel Links there was only 3 spots, and that was the weird thing. Doesn't really matter where you put it. So, I guess we're summoning here. That would make sense because it's 18 to 0 defense. Is that really right? Yeah, I guess that would make sense because there is no defense in Yu-Gi-Oh! At least there wasn't originally. So I don't even know what the /0 here is about. So, the one thing that kind of sucks about Yu-Gi-Oh!, I will say, is the phase system. Where in main phase 1, we now switch to battle phase. Like, conceptually, it actually works fairly well, maybe even better than how Magic the Gathering works. Hearthstone, you don't have effects that affect it, whereas there are a lot of cards that kind of are better explained. Their effects make more sense by this whole long chain of phases. So you have a draw phase, there's a standby phase, which is kind of unnecessary in almost all scenarios, but it's conceptually makes sense to be there. Then there's main phase 1, there's a battle phase, a main phase 2, and end. So you can place cards or summon cards in main phase 2 if you wanted to. But that would only kind of make sense if you did something during the battle phase also. Alright. Just a quick drag. That does 300 damage to our opponent's life points because we had 300 extra attack points. And then we'll just end the turn. Now, quick question, is there a way to end the turn fast? No, so it's going to be kind of slow. It would make more sense to click on the dial and it pop up options around in a circle. Smashing Ground is a spell card. You've drawn a spell card, activate a spell card. Effect activation, or we can set it down. And even when you're activating it, you are still placing the card, which means I've just won the game. So he doesn't have any like traps down in this on the field, and mostly, as I understand Yu-Gi-Oh, you can't really play cards out of your hand. So I just tried to attack. It pops up this pop-up. That feels like that pop-up should be something you should be able to disable. Final blow. But yeah, the animation, the flash, the hoorah definitely is way better here than Duel Links. And you want that, even though that will also come to bite you in the butt later on when you just want to play the game as fast as possible. But that's for late game players. Like, they could easily patch in reduced animations as an option later on if Konami really would support this. Now, we're talking about Konami here, so will they really support this? I mean, if previous behavior is indicator of future behavior, almost certainly no. And frankly, the only reason I'd even be considering playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duels because I've been playing Shadowverse and I am so mentally checked out of playing Shadowverse because it's so grindy. I'm going to keep a very big eye on daily quests and whether they require multiplayers to multiple multiplayer games to get the daily quest. Because if they just give me no daily quests or single player daily quests, that would be wonderful. To be able to just play against an AI that will probably be pretty dumb and easy to beat would be excellent. The win ratio on multiplayer games and collectible card games has to try to approach 50%. Whereas any single player game, your win ratio is somewhere closer to 90%. Alright, we're going to set a trap. So it is incredibly frustrating. Right click seems to do absolutely nothing. And see, all you could do is set there, so so it automatically did it, and that's a nice optimization. Really, I don't think will ever be anything on the sides here, so it seems like they have kind of an odd ratio to just make sure things fit. and they have the cards closer in, like this. This would be, I guess, your fusion deck over here. Now, Magic Arena has little pets you can buy for real-world currency that go on the side, and that was pretty dumb for them to add that. So we went first. This trap card can't be activated until the turn after it's been placed, which one assumes that means the opponent's turn. And there's no in-turn button here. There have been previous Yu-Gi-Oh games where the opponent's monster is attacking. Activate the trap card before your monster is destroyed. Well, I can click on this card to check it, and probably that means this is because you could activate multiple effects that they're giving you as pop-ups. But I can say these pop-ups do feel kind of disconnected from the background and the imagery we're seeing here. They seem like they were made by a different team completely. And then you can click here and effect activation gives me the ability to give 400 attack to this character, making it stronger and defeating him, doing 100 damage in the process back to the opponent. So yeah, you've got a level zoom here where you can see the cards a little bit bigger. I always feel like I want to see the cards just in full screen though, and it'd be nice if there's a gallery where we could just see the full card or just see the art in a higher resolution. But for gameplay reasons at least, this looks pretty good. Some card effects can be activated from the graveyard for a special effect. Activate skill successor in your graveyard. Is this the graveyard? Interesting that they're putting the graveyard over here. So what is that? That must be the removed from play pile. So yeah, now it's been removed from play. Interesting that they're just putting all of this on the side, but that would make a lot of sense for a mobile game. It would make less sense to keep all of this. And I guess at this point, yeah, I guess at this point, there are things that pop up on the left and right, but they could practically, at a different resolution, pop up over here and over there. And I don't know what this log or this button does, but I'm suspecting that this button is the log to tell us exactly every action, which that is kind of what you would want, is to be able to like study what just happened if you're not particularly paying attention. You can see why they moved away from the 2,000, 4,000 life points and have gotten up to like 80,000 life points to start with. These monsters, even at the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, were not particularly weak. Arguably they should have scaled everything down a little bit lower so that some of the first monsters in the first series of cards released were only doing 10 or 20 damage, but that probably would have been too low. Seems like we're gonna play a real game now. We've learned the basics of Duelist, which it's funny they're calling it Duelist instead of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist or Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duelist. The game is called Master Duel. Of course, this is a Japanese game, so maybe some of this is translated a little rough. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't care that much to get every phrase exactly right. It is also worth mentioning there has been some fairly consistent censorship between the different companies in bringing Yu-Gi-Oh! Over to the West, since it is basically the same. Wizards of the Coast was making and printing the Western Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. They censored some of the lewd skin costumes out of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Character cards that were made in Japan by just, I imagine, Konami directly. And of course that led to some censorship of the cartoon when it came over to the West a little bit. It's all fairly well covered territory and known. I'm definitely not coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! Expecting to see anything short of something that would be appropriate for a 12-year-old in the West. Like, I'm not expecting anything more than that, and I know I won't see anything more than that. Whereas in comparison, Shadowverse started off being closer towards an edgy 17-year-old's level of skin showing, and then they decided to censor that and move down to a younger age bracket, which, I mean, you really can't do that if you've already established your game and established an audience for that. But yeah, remember everything you've learned so far and claim victory on your own. Good. So 3 tutorials, very short and sweet. I could certainly make the argument that that you don't have enough tutorial there if you've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! To understand everything. So this button literally just lights up every number, which is kind of unnecessary because you could hover over everything. This is your graveyard, this is your discard pile. It's a smart idea, instead of having that physically represent a pile of cards, to instead just have it represent a whole. Let's see. Card side text. Let's make that large and see how that works, because I'm looking at this from a TV 10 feet away. And no other settings are available in game. This is your log. Cool. And so you don't probably need to read this text ever. I guess cards do sometimes have a defense. Maybe that was always the case. And then he's a psychic type, which probably won't play anything role here. And then this symbol, I'm not sure these symbols ever meant anything. Because when you actually look at the card here, this says psychic, but where does it say psychic here? It says psychic normal. And then this symbol means nothing. You would expect it to be like Magic the Gathering, where this indicates you need a red mana to craft it, but no, that's not really the case. Alright, well, let's see. This would be an 18-0. This would be an 18-0 warrior normal. This let's see, we can go ahead and set this like it's a trap. And then We can go ahead and set this. You can play 2 traps at once. And we'll go ahead and just summon this as the weakest one. And you don't want to play that one. And we have to just end the turn there. I'm gonna click on this button next time I want to end so that destroy his trap, and then we will go ahead and set this as though that's a trap. Why did I go over there? What is he searching for? That doesn't look good. He just discarded like 5 cards. Apparently I may have just been... I don't know why a spell card would be over here. 18 or 16 with 200. Let's go ahead and just summon this one. And then I guess we can special summon this for 1400. Non-effect monsters you control gain 500 attack. Also all effect monsters your opponent controls. This card is in the owner's possession. It's destroyed. Do I want to special summon a 1400 card though? No, I would say no. Yeah, in the proceed to battle phase thought. Probably could have won right then. Yeah, I could have if I had just activated this. Now I'm holding down this button. It's not ending anything. If I double click this, does it end? No. I like how the red changes over here, and so you really know whose turn it is. Okay. Let's see. Let's see how this works. It's a little excessive destroying his other cards and then popping the other cards unless that was going to give me some bigger reward. But notice we're not really getting skills or anything. Well, I guess we are now getting levels and XP. I imagine a lot of players will play this game as fast as possible to get to max level, and then there'll just be a lot of people trying to either level up to the max level to be on top or level up to the max level to sell an account. So we've gotten 1,000 of the premium currency, and that very possibly that's the end of getting the premium currency that we'll ever see. I imagine this animation is only going to show you small selections of cards. Maybe they are randomly selected every time you see this loading screen, but I don't think you could just sit here and eventually see every card that exists. Alright. So we have to pick a deck, and Power of the Dragon almost certainly would make the most sense because those would be cards I'd recognize, whereas Synchro of Unity would be the synchro summoning style that came in later Yu-Gi-Oh cartoons I'm not familiar with, and Link Generation, I have no idea. Like, this probably is the most recent cards. So, I guess your best bet is to just start off fresh and play Link Generation. Don't fall into nostalgia and pick cards we've already seen before, or next generation nostalgia. Link Generation makes the most sense. Also, if we look at the animation style on this, you can see that they have gone in a different direction, kind of stepped it up and made it more neon-y and more glowy with gems on them compared to the superhero kind of art style of this that is a little bit more bland, and then the almost cartoony, Looney Toony art style that was originally in the game. Alright. A deck that utilizes Cyber's monsters for their powerful power-up potential, go on the offensive, and use Decode Talker to prevent effects that target your cards in the field. So this is it. I'm not sure what the level of how many cards you can have is. Like, this says there's 40 cards here. And it seems like they are all laid out one by one. And it's not a particularly complicated deck in that there's 12 spells and 6 traps. And then the rest are all just monsters of different levels. And then you have an extras deck of Link Spider, and then I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Let's see. I think it's worth it to look at the other cards. This would be a deck focused on warrior type monsters. Once the conditions are met, synchron summon a monster like Junk Warrior to boost your attack potential. Again, it would be really nice if you could double click and see the cards. Actually, this is a little bit easier to just click through things. Although, Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular, you either have these effects that you need to read, which now is not the time to get into reading the effects of cards, so you're going to have to pretty much either spend an hour reading all of these cards or know how these cards work in the first place, which my familiarity once again would be with the first generation of the cards. Like I know Mystical Space Typhoon does. It's pretty simple. Yeah. Some of these cards definitely don't look familiar compared to these cards, which none of these cards looked familiar. Hello. The art style on the cards, too, probably going to be a little different from how they're depicted in the game. But we're not looking for anything great here. Well, notice there aren't 3D models summoning out of the cards, which that's something Yu-Gi-Oh! Has tried in the past, is to have 3D models, but then they kind of didn't try to make 3D models for every card and animations for every card because that's too much work and it limits your ability to add new cards. There might be 3D models for like a Blue Eyes White Dragon, something that's really recognizable from a cartoon, but it is going to have to be something very, very recognizable if it has a 3D model, and not every single card. Like, nobody really cares to waste their game or slow down their game to see something like Komodo Dragon animated. I definitely feel like there was a point in which Yu-Gi-Oh had decks that had like 80 cards in them, or you could have as many cards in the deck as you wanted. I know Magic Gathering had that as had no limitation as far as how many cards you could have in your deck for a very long time, until somebody brought a deck that had like 1,000 cards to a tournament, and it was just ridiculous. And they basically had to let them play with it. I'm gonna select the newest cards. It feels like you probably are going to be able to unlock these other 3 decks and more by doing missions, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be some decks that you straight up have to pay for. Also, I heavily suspect we'll be opening packs for random cards to build better decks, and any deck you buy might be a nice quick start to play a style of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's not going to be a high meta game winning deck that can beat multiplayer people. Notice here the animation is a little bit bad because this makes it feel like you just accidentally bought Synchro of Unity when you didn't. It should have either faded out to black, the back part here, and gotten rid of that scene before it showed this scene, or moved this into the center. Alright. So notice that they didn't even ask my name until we already through the tutorial, which is almost certainly because it is just too much up front. Like, asking to fill out a survey before they even get your name is kind of ridiculous. They haven't even downloaded the data, so now we get to watch the download bar. They're saving money on their servers by not having play things. And am I supposed to click on that card? Or was that just an animation? Yep. You can click on it and you can see it. Good to know. Can you click on other cards? No. Half fairy, half cat. Weird. Is it gonna cycle between just those 2 cards? Because that's all that they have loaded in? Nope. Obviously there aren't that many cards that are gonna come up here, though, if we hit a duplicate in 3 random deals. I wouldn't be surprised if there literally were only 2 cards, and now that we're at 5%, we have 5% of the cards getting loaded up into it as it's going. I can't help but feel, though, that we really haven't been shown a fair depiction of what the interface looks like and what the game looks like. Like, are we going to have an overworld? Are we going to have conversations with Kaiba and Yugi and all of his friends? That was all stuff that was in Duel Links. Maybe that was all stuff that didn't really need to exist in Duel Links. Are we ever going to be able to even challenge Yugi? Does it matter? Probably not. Like, it might be a very smart move to split the Yu-Gi-Oh! Player base and have the older adult players who just want to play the game playing Master Duel, and any kids that want to know the story playing Duel Links. I assume they aren't yet to the point where they would abandon Duel Links. I feel zero interest in once again being told the events of Yu-Gi-Oh! The cartoon if it's going to get in the way of playing the card game. But if you could, in the middle of loading screens between a multiplayer match, just pop up a reminder of what happened in a specific chapter of the manga or episode of the cartoon. I didn't read the manga, but whatever. Like if you popped up even one page of the manga while you were loading, that would be kind of great. But they would never get the copyright clearance to do that. The servers must be getting hit pretty hard. Like I said, this game just came out, but there's really not any reason why it should be taking this long on my network connection. I have over 300 megabits per second, so 5 gigabytes should have taken maybe 100 seconds if I'm doing the math right. More realistically, yeah, 3 or 4 minutes. We shouldn't be at 20%, definitely. Although maybe the percentage is wrong and it'll download everything and then all of a sudden it will jump up to 99% and just skip a large percentage. All of these loading bars are just estimates at best. They know on average how long they think it should take, and are giving you a number based on that average, or they have split each of the individual files into one percentage point. And Windows was particularly bad about having very large files count about the same as very small files, and so you would see these long hangs at like 25% to move or copy or download a gigabyte file, and then there would be like several hundred zeros byte files, just really impossibly small files that would download or copy and install, and they would count as a percentage also. So it would be like, wait 5 minutes at 25%. Once that file's done, it immediately jumps from 25% to 60%. But the fact that they're at point percentages and using it seems like they really knew their servers were going to be slow. I think it's only fair to also say, as I'm looking at this game and thinking about if this will be the new temporary game I play, or collectible card game, and I say temporary there because I still very much have the plan, and I have had this plan ever since I stopped playing Hearthstone and went to play Magic the Gathering Arena. This would be the third game I've jumped off of to the next game. The plan still is to play a Marvel collectible card game that's in development and not out yet, from a company named Second Dinner that is owned by Ben Brode, who was the person who originally was like the major leader and head of Hearthstone. So he left Activision Blizzard and formed Second Dinner, and now he is hiring people and in the production of making a collectible card with Disney based on the Marvel characters. Clearly, any collectible card game with Marvel characters has a high chance of success. And Ben Brode bringing the simplicity and like new friendliness of Hearthstone, which was its great sales point compared to Magic the Gathering when it first came out, should make a really good product there, or at least there's a high chance of a great product there. But it has to actually come out, and it hasn't yet. So I may play this game for a week and then the game comes out. Highly unlikely. I may play this game for a year and the game is still not out. I may I may, in this case, play this game for a year if I do choose to play it. And then Konami stops supporting it and comes out with a different Yu-Gi-Oh game. Or it might even go the route of Magic the Gathering Arena, where I was having network trouble one day, and all of a sudden Magic the Gathering Arena and Wizards of the Coast decided to classify me having networking trouble as cheating and banned me for like a few days. And as a YouTuber who live streams playing the collectible card games every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that doesn't work at all. There was no room for appeal or communication or warning whatsoever. Just all of a sudden my login wasn't working, and then several hours later getting an email saying you've been banned. Which that's never been a problem with any of the other collectible card games I've played, and I have had other days when I've had similar network troubles. I was actually having network trouble due to some settings I set on my router, which is a custom setting, custom firmware router, DDWRT, just today, so I had to make some adjustments, but I've not had any problems since, although the night is young. And this is incredibly slow. This is too slow. At this point, I think you'd start to lose people. Like, give me something better to do. Or, you know what? Start the download when I first start playing the game, and then have me go through the tutorial. Because had I played all of the tutorial and this was downloading in the background, this would have been done, definitely. Like, you gotta hide your downloading way better than this. This is bad. Now, in fairness, this is probably only gonna happen once at the beginning, and then you may, in expansions, get up to 1 gig more that you have to download. But even at that, I don't want to spend 1/5 of this time that this has been to wait for a new expansion to download cards. The release of this game was kind of a surprise release too, which also gives me the feeling that Konami does not really care about this game. I mean, Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst, to steal another YouTuber's old phrase. I wouldn't be surprised if they just incompetently handled this game and incompetently handled the release of this game, and that hurts adoption of it. Like, there's really not a good reason, if you were going to not put any announcement in it, and if you were just going to have a surprise release, there wouldn't have been a reason to go even earlier and release it around the Christmas holiday, a couple weeks earlier than that, and just say, hey, this is going to be an open beta period, and we may reset progress after the open beta period. But yeah, you could have certainly convinced a lot of people that were bored over the Christmas holiday to play this game. Whereas now we're in January, January 19th to be exact, so I think this actually came out on the 18th. But yeah, people in the West, kids in the West in particular, and let's face it, this is still at least half a kid's game, are in school, and now is not really the time that they'd be interested in starting up Yu-Gi-Oh! Whereas had you caught them on the Christmas holiday, they might have been interested in it, and they might be talking about their friends about the game by now that they are kind of back in school. Even if they are maybe doing remote learning, I'm sure kids do the remote learning. I don't know about that. Yeah, the whole Zoom class is very possibly severely reduces the amount of talking between kids and their friends. But yeah, because a teacher during a Zoom meeting, a Zoom class, could easily just mute all the kids, and would be it would be very easy for them to hear if somebody were talking to each other. I guess the kids will have to get smart about opening up a different chat app and texting each other on Discord or something while they're doing the Zoom meetings to talk in the back, to do the equivalent of whispering to your friend in the back of the class. Yeah, we might be raising a generation of extremely antisocial, or not antisocial as much as just incapable of being sociable kids. Boy. And this is a problem, certainly, if I'm trying to do a spotlight here and it's taking this long. And I'm starting to kind of just ramble to fill dead air. I could have paused the recording, certainly. I do have that capability. And then I could have come back after it was done downloading. But I think it's worth pointing this out, that we're at 63%, and I would think at least half of kids would get bored at this. Like, best case scenario, you're playing this on a computer, you walk away from it, you come back 5 minutes later and it's done. If there's going to be a mobile version of this game, which I kind of hope there is a cell phone, tablet version of this game, otherwise it is also going to be kind of dead in the water, unless they just expect you to somehow play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels and combine the cards you have from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels into one greater collection. That wouldn't be a terrible idea, frankly, if there was a special server, kind of like how the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pokemon Hub is supposed to be. I think it's called the Pokemon Hub, where they're working on this concept where one game's Pokemon could be traded and transferred into a hub, and then theoretically those Pokemon could be then traded and transferred into the next Pokemon game, so you don't have to just capture them all over again. Unfortunately, I don't think they've actually put out any Yu-Gi-Oh! Games where that quite makes sense yet, because Pokemon Legends Arceus are going to have new Pokemon that aren't in any other game, so those new Pokemon couldn't be traded. Plus, it's also, I think, set in the past, so I'm not sure they're going to be able to get the old Pokemon in there. So it may be very much the case that at the current moment, you could take maybe Hey You Pikachu Pokemon, transfer it into the hub, and then transfer it out to Hey You Eevee. Or maybe you can go from the Hey You Pikachu and Eevee first generation Pokemon and transfer them into Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, which that might work. Or maybe you could get it in Sword and Shield, because yeah, it's really confusing. Like, Hey You Pikachu and Eevee were remakes of the first generation of Pokemon, so first generation Pokemon in that collection. And then they released Sword and Shield, which would have been at the time the most latest chronologically game, and so that would have been 7th or 8th generation Pokemon. And I assume you could probably move the first generation to the 7th generation game, but not not the other direction. But then they released Diamond and Pearl, which is a remake of Diamond and Pearl, which is like the third or fourth generation of Pokemon, somewhere there in the middle. And then Pokemon Legends Arceus is the most recent game that isn't out yet, and it is going to be the most recent game released when it comes out, obviously, but it is a prequel, and or at least it feels like it's going to be a prequel. It looks like it's going to be a prequel, and so it's probably not going to work that way either. You wouldn't have those problems, and it's ridiculous I'm talking about Pokemon when waiting for a Yu-Gi-Oh game to load. It would work better in Yu-Gi-Oh because, as far as I know, there isn't too much of a ban list, where there's a lot more of that in Magic the Gathering, where Magic the Gathering, you really can only play the most recent 4 or 5 series of cards, and any card before the most recent 4 or 5 series is banned. I'm definitely seeing cards here that are from the first release of Yu-Gi-Oh! And seem like they mostly are playable. There is some ban list, I know, and it is, from the review I saw on Steam, not supported in this game. So that is another thing, that if they're really going to support this, they are going to want to give you those options to say, can we play this ban list and get rid of these specific cards? Although if you're mostly playing with your friends, you can certainly agree to those custom rules yourself. But I could also see the high-level pros not wanting to go in the multiplayer and play against people that are playing cards that just kind of ruin everything. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more on the side of the wild and crazy game-ending, one-turn kill combinations. Those do kind of exist. And they kind of were built into the card games, where that could certainly be annoying if that happens a lot in multiplayer, and I could see a need to ban them. We did all that talk about Pokemon, and we didn't even mention the Pokemon card game, because frankly, I don't think there's a lot to say about the Pokemon card game. It's a great game. It's baby's first Magic the Gathering. It's basically the exact same rules as Magic the Gathering. It's not complicated like Yu-Gi-Oh! With a bunch of effects. Although nowadays it probably is a lot more complicated than it was when it was originally came out. But I don't... Yeah, there's really not a lot to say there. There's really not a good reason to play the Pokemon collectible card game. There's no good recent digital version to play Pokemon the card game, which is kind of ridiculous. You'd think there would be a mobile game out there. But if you want to play Pokemon the card game digitally, you should just probably play a Magic Arena. Yeah. In the real world, it's really expensive and kind of crazy to play the card games much at all anyways, whether you're talking Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the Pokemon card game. So I would heavily, as a parent, I would heavily push any kid I had away from, I should say, as a theoretical parent, I would push any theoretical kid I had away from playing any collectible card games, because it's really just gonna break your wallet and break your heart. People that play card games tend to very quickly get ripped off in trades. They get their cards stolen. they run out of people that they really want to play with. It's a little too competitive a sport with no real referees or adults in the room, real mature adults in the room. Imagine if you had a kid in like Little League Baseball, but there was no referee and no coaches and no adults, and at the end of the baseball game, somebody could potentially take your bat and ball and put it in their pocket and then run away very quickly. And that bat and ball might be worth quite a bit of money. That's about as good of an analogy as I can think of playing these collectible card games. Pokemon the card game originally also encouraged gambling in that you were putting up some of your cards as a prize to the winner, which that was an insane idea. I don't know if that's anywhere in the rules anymore, but the idea certainly still exists. Although I think very few people actually play that way with even the Pokemon cards. One thing I will say Magic the Gathering and the Pokemon card game have wrong compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the idea of having to play mana to summon things. Yu-Gi-Oh! Addresses a real problem, and most good card games do see a problem and address a problem, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Addresses the summoning limitation, I think, a lot better. And they may address summoning sickness a little bit better too. Of course, with major changes, you create other problems, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Does have a momentum problem. If you can get something strong out of the gate fairly quickly, you're guaranteed to win in a lot of scenarios. But that's almost a good thing, because potentially that means you could play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Your opponent gets something strong, wins real fast, you're already shuffling to the next game, where you play something like Magic and it may be an hour game just because it's tit for tat or blocking against blocking. And even Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of blocking if you play wrong. Finally, that was like 40 minutes, it feels like, to download. Alright. About the homepage. Immediately, this is going to look like a mobile game. These features will help you enjoy dueling to the fullest. You can battle with duelists from all over the world. You can also switch it up and duel according to different rules. Check your decks and adjust them as you like. Solo, practice your strategies, or read stories behind the cards. Shop, get new cards by purchasing cards, etc. Alright. To commemorate the game's release, we're currently having a special gym sale. So immediately they're trying to sell you something, and I have no idea how to... Like, they're making it so it seems like you should just go here and purchase things. Check out the exclusive gym pack on the gym purchases right now. It's an amazing deal, only available for a little limited time. Thank you for playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So you can hit back, or you can click purchase gyms. Let's see what this looks like. So, buy 33,500 gems. So the scale doesn't seem extremely crazy. They gave us 1,000 here, but to get 50 gems is $1. So we now know each gem is worth about 2 cents. To get 35 gems, I guess that would be $10 times 7, $70. worth of gems, and they're only charging $28 for it. So then the amount doesn't seem like it's ripping you off too much. $2 here sans a penny. Or actually, if you actually added it up, it would be $198 versus $199. This gives you 110 versus buying 2 of these, which would only give you 100. So for 1 extra penny, you're getting 10 more gems. But they definitely are going to try and confuse you at a certain level here. And then they start giving you these boxes as different animations. Yeah, normally your biggest option would be to spend $80 to get 4,950 gems, which I think this is a better deal than that. Yeah, by far. So if you wanted to go pay to win immediately, that option is available for you. Let's see. Surveys to improve gameplay is currently open for submissions. This does feel very much feel very much like a open beta with all these surveys. Wow, and there's like 7 pages here that they're gonna have you ask all these questions, and notice that they're all mandatory. And then you're gonna click next, and there's gonna be another page, and another page, and another page. I'll fill that in later. New cards available at the shop. New structure decks. Duel Pass now available at the shop. Alright. Let's go to notifications. And just start reading these. Survey regarding gameplay. About data transfers. Using QR codes. They have a special mission, which we'll look at the missions in a second. They're definitely just trying to that apparently some of these commands and things can be changed once we actually get into a real game. Of course, you're getting a whole lot of text here, when ideally you would have wanted people to jump into it more than just one game and then spend 40 minutes. Let's see, regarding changes to the card text and effects resolution for Millennium Eyes Restrict. So they're talking about a very specific card being changed. So, and the card has actually been changed in the real card game, it looks like. Issues. Oh, apparently I could be playing with a controller. That doesn't really seem like something that would work too well for our collectible card games. So Korean letters not showing up, that's probably not going to affect me. Portuguese things not showing up, it's not going to affect me. So that's all notifications cleared. Let's look at the missions now. So we have a login mission that we've done for one. And then we have a second login mission for 20. So now I have 2020 gems. So if I play for the next 7 days, or just log in 7 days in the next 70 days, I'd be fine. But there's a problem here. How can I log in 13 times when there's only 11 days left? That seems kind of impossible. The game would have had to have sneakily been released a couple of days ago. I don't think it was. And then if we spectate a Duel live, we get 5 gems, which is basically nothing. And there's not a system here to do that right now and just hop to where you need to go. Activate a spell card in the next 11 days in a ranked duel. Ranked duels. Okay. So we do have dailies, and they do require being played in ranked. So we're not going to be given a generous amount of like solo only quests. Every reward here also is in gems, so we're not having other kinds of rewards like card packs or anything else. Flare skins for characters. We don't even know if there are avatars in this game. They may just not exist. CP is a real poor choice in English because CP, to my ear, always stands for child porn. But I assume that it's card points to generate a card. These are something we can do later. We can dismantle cards that are extra. We can find a secret pack, which I have no idea where you would do that. We can win 20 duels in solo mode, and then that's pretty much all I think you ever may need to do. We need to remove an opponent's cards in any gameplay mode, I assume. This isn't just all solo mode. 3,000 times. Send people to the graveyard 3,000 times. Special summon from the graveyard. All numbers that make sense. So basically just play the game enough. What is this? A mat for darts doesn't make sense. And a mat for American football doesn't make sense. So are these just little toys that will show up on the side of your game? If you reach bronze, you get a thing around your icon, but I'm not sure if that means you get an avatar or something. They're giving monster art as rewards also. Legendary pack tickets to buy. Apparently we have claimed something here, so we'll take that. Although I don't know what it was that we had already done. Let's see. Duel Link Live, watch now. This isn't by far the worst mobile game home screen I've seen, but these tend to be pretty crappy and just full of ads all over the place, and you'll start seeing more icons popping up as they try to promote more and more things and different ways that you can purchase and spend more money. There's nothing in the gift boxes. They may very well give you some gifts. So now is definitely the time to jump in. Alright, let's see if we can lower the resolution any lower. 720p? Yeah, let's see if that works. Duelize. Activation confirmation. A button to switch the activation confirmation will be displayed on the dual screen. Which right now it has a switch, but you could make it auto. Let's see. Automatically decides where to place cards on the field. Let's see. Display face down cards as transparent. That might be cool. Command icons that will be displayed. Special summon animations are our thing. Let's put this to auto and see what that does. You will automatically receive an activation confirmation at the timing set of any card. Okay. And then audience and replays. Is there anything here? As long as somebody can't watch me and then start chatting and posting nonsense and horrific things, I imagine help would just take you to a website. Forbidden and limited is a thing to some level. Yeah, there's a forbidden limited list for standard regulation. So here are the forbidden cards that are not allowed in standard. And boy, do I recognize a lot of these as first generation Yu-Gi-Oh cards as being too powerful. It's not super surprising though that some of the first generation cards would be too powerful and would have to just be forbidden. Depending on how many are here, I don't feel like this is anywhere as bad as Magic the Gathering in general, not just the digital version of Magic the Gathering, but or the most recent digital version of that Magic the Gathering. But Magic effectively forbids way more cards than it allows by forbidding all cards that aren't in the last 4 or 5 expansions. They also cheap out horribly by then effectively reprinting the exact same card and just giving it a different name and a different picture, but it has the exact same effects and stats. Limited means you can only have one of them. So summoning Exodia, for instance, you can only have one in your cards. Which there definitely was a Yu-Gi-Oh game I used to play where I could use Cyberstein on the first turn to summon a Blue Eyes, Ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon or something and win the game in the first turn or second turn. We're guaranteed. But even at that, you still can use these cards. You can just only have one of them. I do definitely recognize a lot of these cards, and that is going to definitely be to my advantage. I have suspect that these cards might be in order of their release, and that's why I'm recognizing the cards at the very beginning, and then as I go further down these lists, I don't recognize the cards. It's going to be to my ever so slight advantage that I recognize first generation cards. Everyone else who has been playing Yu-Gi-Oh will recognize probably all the cards, and I would say Yu-Gi-Oh as a card game is still closer to the point where you could have been playing the game for years and recognize every card by its image and its picture. They don't make a bunch of alternate art versions of cards like Magic does. Whereas I think even unless you're just putting a lot of research and study time into it, I think even semi-regular Magic people are going to have to look at the cards that people are playing because they just have no idea what they're actually doing. And you just can't have that instant familiarity when there's a whole bunch of reprints of the same card but it has a different name and different art, or there's alternate art versions of the same card out there. And sometimes they have alternate art versions of the same card for very little reason in Magic. That is not a super long list of forbidden cards. Okay. I think that's all we can do as far as that. So let's see what the shop looks like. About the shop, you can purchase card packs, structured decks, bundled deals, accessories, and items in the shop. You can switch the items displayed with the tabs on the top left-hand side. Okay, so it almost feels like you could customize the shop to hide sections and maybe even hide everything that costs real-world money, although I bet you really can't do that. A pack, choose from the selection packs for specifically curated cards, or master packs which contain thousands of different cards. You might even encounter a special hidden card pack if you're lucky. So there is a gambling element to this on top of a gambling element. Structured decks are decks that have been pre-built, recommended for beginners and players who want to start dueling straight away. It's been an hour and 22 minutes. There is no straight away here. But in all fairness, they're not forcing me to look at the shop. I chose to look at the shop. I could have jumped into a new game about an hour into this. Bundle deals, value sets that come with card packs and bonus cards. For example, a bundle deal could include 10 card packs and one bonus ultra rare, such as Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which is that card. Duel Pass. This item allows you to earn gems, accessory, and card craft points. Which is that what CP is? Is card craft points? Why not call it CCP? Oh, because that would be the Chinese police if you called it CP. CCP. CKP? Nope. There's just no good list there. They should just call them card points. And written out the phrase card points. Generally, you'd call it dust or something like that. Alright. So one pack is worth 100 gems, and we know 50 gems is worth $1. So one pack is $2 for Stalwart, Forest, Revival Legends, and the Master Pack. Currently, no secret packs available for purchase, and no bonus packs available for purchase. And you're seemingly under this limitation of only being able to buy these packs for 62 days, master packs, that way. Of course, once again, while it would be great for you to be able to transfer your cards that you get in this game to any future Yu-Gi-Oh game, there is absolutely zero reason to believe that that would be the case. So any money or premium currency spent is going to be locked into this game, almost certainly. Now, structured decks seems like you could buy the same structured decks 3 times. I don't understand why you would want to buy the same structured decks 3 times. It wouldn't probably make sense to buy these decks right now. But why would you want more of the same cards? Like, it would just be to create dust. Alright, accessories. You have a mate. I guess that's not mate that you can purchase. So 3D models of characters. You have Dark Magician. Let's click on Dark Magician and see what that looks like. Yeah. So it's a little avatar. Again, what is mate versus what is a mate? And almost certainly they will give you at least one of these eventually through grinding, and then you'll immediately realize that they are useless visual DLC things. Duel fields, on the other hand, I mean, do I even need to look at all of them? They're just different looking duel fields. They don't really change where the cards go. It's just going to be a slight different thing. And then you have protectors, which would be the backs of the cards. Which, in all fairness, the backs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards are pretty dull. Almost intentionally that way. This is too white and colorful for its own good. This isn't terrible. But again, it's just a visual thing. These would be things that in the real world you would buy because you're buying an actual physical item, but in a digital framework you're just being gouged for something that they should give you for free to encourage you to play online. And like, a lot more of this kind of content should be free, free with purchase of cards, and it should just be more pushing you to always open more packs of cards instead of saying you can get these things separately and only separately. And then icon is, I guess, the closest thing you have to an avatar. What is icon? Question mark. It's definitely not translated well. So they're not 3D animated characters or anything. They're just flat images. In fact, of the ones I'm seeing here, none of them even really feel like they fit in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. This is the closest thing to actually look like something that fits in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. I don't know if you really need a search bar at this point for any of that. And then the dual pass here would be Dual Pass Gold. Intermediate reward is a wallpaper of El Shadal Construct. We have something spectacular for the final reward to a Pot of Greed mate. So, yeah, and people love Pot of Greed, so there is kind of a decent sales point there. So you spend 600 gems, and if you play the game enough, you will get 600 gems back. Plus you'll get 100 construct points. Let's go to the rewards here and see. Means you would have to play a lot though. And if you're not 100% sure that you're going to get up to level 100 on the dual pass, then you're going to be shortchanged. You need to get up to level 96 just to get all of the gems back. Well, no, you have to get back to level 99 to get all the gems back. So you're breaking even and making a little bit of profit. What is dual pass? They're available as Duel Pass Normal and Duel Pass Gold. You collect points in ranked duels and event duels. You have to claim the rewards. You win a duel, you get 120 points. To get up a level, you have to get 50 points between grade 2 and 10, 60 points between 11, 15, 70, then 80, then 90, then 100 points. Which means not quite 75 games. But I would say my rough estimate and bad math tells me you probably need to win 75 games and play 75 games for that to make sense. And that's Duel Pass Gold, where there seems to be no Duel Pass Normal. And I wouldn't be surprised if Duel Passes get way more expensive. Then you have a bundle deal, which would be 10 packs of this, and at least one SR is guaranteed. Which SR is super rare, so you have normal, rare, super rare, and ultra rare. So, yeah, 10 pack of cards. This is 6,750 cards also, of all different cards. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is a little crazy, and there's no telling if these master packs are the same 6,750 cards, but I bet they are. I bet this is a bundle to just kind of get you started and give you all of the previous cards. So what you would want to do here is buy this bundle, and then this bundle, which I could do, but then I couldn't get the game pass, the Duel Pass. Which, yeah, at a certain level, that would be the right deal, is to buy the Duel Pass now, buy all of these. If I'm not going to play the game, it doesn't matter if I spend money on the Duel Pass at all. If I'm not going to play the game, it doesn't matter if I spend this currency that we've started with. I'm not spending any real money, and probably will never spend a dime on this. I'm going to try very hard to be free to play. I really don't think there's a good precedent to set there. Alright, so let's do this and then purchase this. So that's purchased, and ideally, so then we just need to decide which cards do we want to get. I think we start with this one and this one. And yeah, we've got some card pack openings in here, and I guess what this indicates to me is that in these packs there probably are some super rare, and that might be an ultra rare. You know, we're not seeing any characters yet. Like, we don't have a shopkeeper, nobody really talking to us. We also didn't even look to see how many cards come in the pack, so if we open the pack and there's like 4 cards in the pack, that would kind of suck. Let's do this. That's quite the animation to see a card pack opening animation. And everything will be new. That's a normal, that's a rare. So it's not just normals and rares. It's not just normals that get the regular card back. Yep, here's the card back. Actually, it's a slightly modified version of the standard card back. Nice little reflection going on here. Why is this a shiny version of a card? Because it has silver on the side? Yeah, it does seem like we may very well have... They may have shiny versions of the card. I didn't know Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually did that in the real card game. Maybe it doesn't, but... Yeah, there clearly is some kind of holographic foil or something. Although this does not look like holographic foil. It really just looks like the regular card. And then super rare. And then that gave me a key to something. What does that mean? It didn't tell me. But clearly keys are important. Another key. Yeah, and you ideally would want to look at these cards, but who has time for that? We're getting different animations here. How many card packs are we going to open before we run into a duplicate is the question. With 6,000 cards in the back catalog, there's a lot of room for difference for getting different cards. What's the deal with this? I have no idea what the blue and red here. A pendulum effect. You can target your Metaphys monsters that is banished from your or in your graveyard, banish this card, and if you do so, special summon this monster in attack position. Yeah, there's entire effects here we're not going to be able to understand until we start playing a lot more. So this was the gold pack, which means we would have expected more, but we're not really seeing more. It's still just getting a lot of normals and rares. So the gold effect here doesn't seem like it guarantees gold cards. The maximum number of any card you can have is 3, so getting 3 copies of any card is really all you would ever want. And then I assume the game will let us turn the extras into card points fairly easily. I don't feel like these card pack opening sequences ever quite get it right as far as actually showing the cards to you. But that's not what they're really here for anyways. They're here to be the slot machine, to be the Skinner box that convinces you to buy more packs and give you that feedback of feeling like you succeeded at something or that you won at something. That's why this is so ridiculously flashy. That's why they want you to do something so simple as just swiping the cards, which, sure, let's just swipe the cards. Clearly getting shiny versions of normal and rare is not hard, so we may very quickly have shiny versions of even normal and hard cards. I'm noticing that there are different animations here, and I don't know if that means anything or not, but it definitely feels like you get more lightning bolts if you are doing a little bit better in your deck. And how many cards are we getting, by the way? 6, 7, 8. That's not terrible. How many of these keys do you need to open something is the question. If anything, this animation of turning things into silver gives me the feeling that maybe instead of having regular versions of cards and silver versions of cards, you will just upgrade your cards to silver versions of cards. Although that might be actually a worse way to do things, because that might mean you can't turn the extra cards into card points as fast as you normally could. So obviously we want to look at this. I don't know really what the black background means, if it means anything. Probably doesn't. I feel like in the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! These symbols probably did mean something more, but I wouldn't be surprised if these symbols don't get used anymore. So we opened 80 cards. If we got 8 and 10 packs, we got basically 1 ultra rare and some super rare cards. 4, I guess, would be super rare cards. And they gave us keys to something we don't even know. You found a new card pack. And we get 1 Solomon's Judgment. So not a bad turn of events. Here, I guess if you click this, you can see how many we own, but we didn't see a single duplicate, so the number owned will be 1. I would actually like to know how many cards I just own in general now. And so secret card packs, I guess, were found, and we just opened them now. Not be able to return to the screen. Let's just click OK. And the card packs will be over there. Alright. So that was purchased. And let's go ahead and purchase this one. Now leave us at exactly 420 gems, and like I said, I suspect we will always have a few gems extra. You can never quite balance it out so that you would use all of the gems. Although it does seem like you could probably get it down to less than 50. Interesting that we got the animation for that the second time. And I assume the cards we're still getting here are cards that are all from the Master Pack, which is just like the entire backlog. And I assume when they come out with a new expansion, they won't add those new cards into the Master Packs and make the Master Packs even bigger. Which, once again, this points out why it's really the perfect time to jump in on a game like this, just the day of it coming out. Sure, there will be a few players that be ahead of you and paying to win, but you won't have a massive back catalog of cards to buy that's any larger than any other player. There is obviously a massive back catalog of cards. How relevant any of them are, is definitely going to be a journey. There is definitely a question, do you immediately start meta decking, which is the idea of going online and looking at what kind of decks to build based on what cards you have, or what cards to go for to build better decks. It'll take a while until the meta of this game is settled enough that anybody has any real suggestions, and it may take a while for people to be able to list their cards to like a website in an efficient way to find out what the best deck they could build is. Interesting. I don't know what I did to speed it up there. But yeah, it seems like you get a secret card pack every single time you get a super rare or ultra rare card, which I was expecting a lot less in that category. I definitely was thinking that secret card packs would happen fairly infrequently. You would get them when you got nothing but normals or rares in a pack, not when you were getting the high level cards. It's a system that's effectively rewarding you on top of a reward, which is interesting, but not the way you would want to go. You would want to be able to give kind of a reward for people who buy packs and get garbage so they don't feel as bad. That's when I would have it give out secret packs. But clearly this is not based on whether or not you got a bad pack in general. It's just based on whether you got an ultra rare or a super rare. If you get one, you're getting a secret pack. This effectively makes this a much better deal also, because alright, there's our first duplicate. Because I am effectively getting about 15 more packs after buying just 20 packs. Well, interesting. That was an ultra rare, but it didn't give me a secret pack. And so this is really your final collection screen. It would be fairly hard to scroll down here and find this card, but I was able to do it, where we have 2 copies of this. But you need 3 copies of any card, so yeah, getting duplicates at the moment really doesn't matter. And since this isn't your total collection, we know that would have been 80 cards. And we are shy of we're at 420, where we would want to be at 750. And if we just play the game pass, the dual pass, we can fairly quickly get to that point. As long as you don't waste money on cosmetics or buy these kinds of decks, which yeah, buying a deck here would give you 45 cards in comparison, and it's effectively a good recipe for cards you would want, but not all these cards are the same, are they? Maybe they are. Yeah, maybe each card is different, so if you buy it 3 times, you would get 3 copies of each. Yeah, but I already own that card and that card, so you would almost have to start the game by putting money into the game to justify buying it 3 times. Not terrible if you bought it once or twice, if you're somehow going to get a lot of gems. And in this one, you could just buy it 3 times and then you would have 3 copies of the cards. Of course, that's kind of more of a mid-game strategy compared to a much better early game strategy of starting with these bundle deals. I assume these packs here, cards included in this pack, are 80 of 80. Do you really get 80 cards in a pack? I doubt it. I bet you get 8. So you'd have to buy about 10 packs to try this. Try and get everything. But if you do it in groups of 10 packs, you are guaranteed at least 1 super rare. And that probably would be your best deal. Yeah. Infinite money, you would dump just a ton after getting the bundles into buying more master packs, I think also. And there's a difference between secret packs and bonus packs. Ooh. They're not free, are they? Oh, so this is a scam. But maybe not a terrible scam. But all of a sudden it shows the difference here. Because I got this card, I suspect, that unlocked the ability to buy a pack to get more cards in the same general family of cards. Because obviously these are all like dragons, infernal cards, and all in that same visual motif. So now it makes a lot more sense why they were giving me card pack unlocks. It's because they are not free, and thus they've effectively given me a coupon to buy more cards. And since I bought those bundles, so maybe you would have wanted to hold off as a free-to-player and see if you can grind out for more gems, but yeah. Unless you can only purchase one of these, like one pack. But that doesn't seem like that's the case, because then why would they say you can buy a 10 pack? And does it make sense actually to do this? It probably doesn't make sense. Seems like this might be the same 6,750 cards as the master set that you could get, and then there is a smaller set of featured cards that only 4 of which you're guaranteed. So when you run the math here, 4 of the 8 cards you get will be in the featured set, but that would then explain why you would want to take 10 packs of this, because you're still going to end up getting a lot of the other cards. Yeah, secret packs are a scam. And so without having played anything else, we have managed to finish some more things. This, and this is a lifetime thing though, so after you find 100 secret packs, you will never be rewarded with gems like that again. In fact, That's kind of what's going to happen no matter what, is that you're going to run into that problem. I don't think my choices were wrong though, so let's go ahead and buy this bundle deal, and then more than likely your best bet is to hold on to your gems for the next bundles that wrap around. In the future, and how quickly they wrap around and come out with new bundles will also highlight just how much they're trying to get you to spend, because clearly they hope for you to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars if they can get you on the hook and get you addicted. But that is true for every collectible card game, and you just have to have very good willpower and resistance. It might be a case that we'll see fewer and fewer secret packs because we'll have unlocked all of them, and the 24-hour limit is actually not a 24-hour limit as much as it might be a 24-hour reset of the odds. That animation with that character feels like it should be the Dark Magician in my mind, but for newer players that probably makes a little bit more sense to use a newer character. You've got a lot of gold cards here. But boy was I thinking that would just be free packs. That's what it feels like. It feels very deceptive. So if this one here just turned silver, does that mean there will be two of those cards in our collection, a non-silver and a regular silver, or did it just mean that all versions of that card will now be silver? It's kind of ridiculous to have a whole overlapping system of cards, but yeah, I've seen plenty of collectible card games go down that route. And yeah, if you're upset that I'm not actually playing the game, I have to say this is the real game for collectible card games. It's opening cards, building decks. It's only later do you actually get to the point where you're actually playing the game and playing against people. But I will try to play at least one more game, probably two. The only thing that could be more irritating about these secret packs is if I click on one from that in-screen menu and it actually does open a pack, and I accidentally clicked OK when I shouldn't have. Because if I've lost like 15 free packs just because I clicked the OK button, that would be just like rage quit inducing. No key there. Alright. So I want to see something silvery that I would have 2 copies of. But even if I did have 2 copies of them, they probably would just put the silver one on top, and I still wouldn't really know. Like this. There's 2 copies of this one. It has that silver border. Does that mean every time in my collection now, every card in my collection has the silver border, or just one that I got? I don't know. Yep. And when you click this, it does just take you to the secret packs. So yeah, it's a bit scammy. I don't have 1,000 gems, so I wouldn't justify buying anything. I guess in 61 days these cards will cycle out. This is Stalwart Force, this one's Revival of Legends. Do we have those decks as secret packs also? Because I wouldn't be surprised if each of these are decks that will be cycled in and out randomly. No, there's a difference here. This one doesn't have any featured cards, so the normal packs are different. And then these bundle deals feel like they're just going to be around forever. Or at least a long enough time that they're not putting a timer on it. And in doing that, we found some more packs. Is there perhaps a requirement here to open a secret pack? Because we might consider that. No, I don't think so. And see, if I was actually just playing the game, you'd fairly quickly start to get some more gems to justify maybe buying the secret packs. But I don't think I'm gonna just be able to play a whole bunch off screen and end up getting several thousands of gems to buy 10 packs of everything. Limited missions or logins. Spectator duel. Win a duel. Yeah, there's no actual missions that require you to actually purchase the packs. You just find the packs. What does the friends menu look like? Let's see how that would work. It's going to be a 9-digit number. Good to know. You can also get followers. You can also have a block list. Slight question as to what is my ID. I didn't see an ID anywhere. Is it here? We have a little rabbit mate to start with. And we have a beginner duelist, and I guess that's your ID number there. Let's see, what can we edit? Icons, we have just this default icon frame, we have a default there. We have several, let's go with casual here as a title. Can we add other titles? Sure. Casual, beginner, duelist, relax play, follow me, sure. Why not? As mate, you have the rescue rabbit. As monster art, you just have, that's just like a banner art. Okay. And then I guess if you wanted to see your replay data, you have to actually play outside of the duels. Alright, so you went to the shop. Next thing would be to go to the deck. And let's just see how we can view, copy, and delete deck. Sample 5-card draw. I guess this is just to get a feel of the randomization of what your starting hand might feel like. If you're going to copy this, it's just a simple copy and pasting. No QR codes or anything like this to share. I guess that probably is let's go ahead and delete the deck that we just copied. Number of event decks, we have 0. Yeah, I guess you could just straight up search public decks. Interesting. But can you filter by cards you have? Doesn't seem like it can be filtered that way, so you're not having to go to a website. You could just look for card decks this way and maybe get some help there, but who's to say which one of these, if any of these, are even good? List of structured decks would be... Ooh, we can see that there are several here. They could be copied over. Although it's kind of pointless to copy over a deck if you don't have the cards. This would have been the Synchro of Unity. They kind of made it feel like you would have been able to purchase this specific deck, and that was kind of a lie. Like, yeah. Eventually, yes, if you get enough cards, you'll have enough to build these decks, or at least it will get you close enough that you could then use the card points to craft them. But there is clearly a lot of cards and a lot of variety here, so that would take a lot of pack opening. It's a little weird to have so many structured decks to start with anyways. And then if we were going to create a new one, let's just see what the craziness here is. How to edit a deck: right click and drag and drop in your cards to move them. Auto generating or dismantling cards. Dismantle your excess cards to gain crafting points. That's what the CP stands for. According to the rarity dismantled of the cards dismantled, you can use crafting points to generate cards. The rarity of the card that is generated will depend on the rarity of the crafted point card you want, which effectively means you're going to need like 30 crafting points to make a card, a rare card, and you're only going to get 10 every time you dismantle a card, so dismantle is always going to disfavor you. There's also a function to dismantle all extra cards, which we won't have any of those. Let's see where that is. Dismantle all extra cards. Yeah. 4 or more cards into 3 cards, which no card can have more than 3 copies, I think. Yeah, it feels like it would be... It's not the best interface, really. Let's see. What does this do? Okay, this adds the card or dismantles the card. This favorites the card. This tells you how to obtain it. So if we're looking for specific cards, then we might have some secret cards that tell us that. Is this stacking cards or not stacking cards? I can't tell. Filter. All kinds of filters. Summon, cut in, enabled or disabled. Can you, it almost feels like you could disable specific animations per card. Let's actually test that. Summon, cut in, enabled, filter. So this card has a summon, cut in. Drag it to the extra deck, which is, I think, the only place it can actually go. Or drag it away. I don't see anything here, though, that it feels like you could get rid of the summon cut-in. So if that is something that would be enabled, I don't know how you would do that. Card history, bookmarks. Alright, well, let's reset their filter. And then let's go with sort by number owned. Going down. So I have 3 of these cards. And I can't put this one in the extra deck. Okay. So sorting in that way helps, but doesn't really answer the question. We needed, let's see, glossy finish or royal finish. Do we have anything with a royal finish? No, so we haven't even found the card that has a royal finish. Do we have anything with glossy finishes? Yes. And so that's all the shinies. But no duplicates of shinies. So that does seem like that'll give you a little bit more crafting points compared to a basic card like this that apparently can't even be dismantled. Alright, we're getting it. We're getting the idea here. Don't quite understand why there are different crafting points for different cards. It kind of feels like what they're telling me here is that I cannot dismantle normal cards ever. But I'm not sure if that's really the case or not. Notice how by default it doesn't even show a forbidden card. Let's see. Go back to the number owned. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, when you have it like this, you can see the scroll bar is going down, down, down. But when you have it like this, it seems like it stacks it. But also, kind of seems like it doesn't stack it. So I'm not sure what this button's actually doing. Like, this goes all this way down to that point where this goes down, down. So this must include all cards that we don't have. Yeah, it does. Okay, I see what that does now. And clearly we're not at a point where building a deck makes sense. Let's see, solo. Which would be the story mode, certainly to check out. Uncover the hidden stories of the cards and duel with decks built for drawing out the potential. Learn how to pilot each deck and the ins and outs of their strategies. So, a bigger tutorial mode that has you play more. Once you have earned all the rewards within a gate, its status will be updated to complete. If you have any rewards left, it will say clear. An icon for locked chapters will be displayed on the gate banner if you still have chapters left to unlock. Is this Japanese for clear? I don't know. Because this looks like a gate, but this does not look like the word clear or complete or locked. So that's not particularly the best information they could give me. And so why does this have different colors up here? That's crazy. Before we take any step further, let's look at Duel. About the Duel menu, battle with players all over the world and compete for a top spot on the strongest duels. Ranked duels, climb through the ranks by participating in lots of duels. You can also earn rewards according to your rank. Duel room, gather your friends and get your game on. You can also duel according to different rules and events. Take part in limited time tournaments with special rules. Cool. But this is the part that people are not happy with, though, is the ranked dueling system. But it kind of feels like that's the only way you're really going to get any rewards or daily quests. The duel room here, you could create a room. We could try to spectate a room if we wanted to. Let's see. This is a private room. None. This is a private room. None. A lot of these rooms literally have only one person in them. Take note of that. So, for us to, like, spectate this room. Like, seems like nobody's actually playing. There are no replays. There's just somebody that's made a room and is just kind of waiting around. That's it. It said there were 2 members there. One of 2 members, all of a sudden I'm... Yeah, it seems like of the whole list of people here, you would really have to get a group of people together, because clearly people don't understand how this system is supposed to work. Is it somebody here is playing? Here we can even see 2 people at the table playing, and yet I still can't spectate. There you go. Let's try and spectate and watch some real players. And then I think, since this has been 2 hours long, as far as a spotlight, it's been a fairly long experience. We might want to finish on one ranked game and then make another recording to just figure out if this is something of interest or not. Yeah, are we gonna see all kinds of communication errors in the network? I wouldn't be surprised. This is a cool effect, the little wobbly and all, but yeah, you're only supposed to see it for a brief second. So, is this playing in real time, or is this just a couple of bots that Konami has pretending like they're playing? Or is this a recording of something that was live? Seems like it says they're live, because clicking this fast forward did not seem like it really changed much. Does seem like they are playing at 4,000 health, so 4,000 life points. Which, okay, if that's the standard, that's fine. 2,000 was a little too little, 8,000 was a little too high. 4,000 works, I think, fairly well. Although this does feel like they're playing fairly conservatively, and that is one of the problems with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that you have a desire not to just risk your cards and destroy all your cards, and go very aggressive aggro. This playfield feels like there could be a card placed here on this spot, which I don't know if that's the case or not. We can't look at the cards that are being played. Of course, we can look at like cards in the area. And you can click on things like Hearthstone and get some reactions if you're bored. But what you don't have here is a timer. And that's what kills this idea, certainly, is if somebody can just take forever, and every single or the vast majority of Yu-Gi-Oh games are just going to boil into network stalls and people taking whatever amount of time. I feel like in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament there would be a play timer. And maybe even in this game there is an actual timer, but it's just so high and there's no indication. Hearthstone had the lovely burning rope that was like almost algorithmic, in which it started at different times, particularly if you weren't playing fast in previous turns. And so it really put the pressure on you to keep you to get you to speed up and keep playing. And it put an audio visual cue to say we want you to play more. These little characters seem like they just do one little animation when we click on them. I'm not really paying attention to the cards that are being played that much, but I really just wanted to spectate and get that daily quest done. The chain animation here of things resolving, they made a lot of hype about that because chaining in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a big deal. I'm still not sure what cards would ever end up there in the center. That's not something that was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before when I was playing it. In all fairness, I think I played a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! In digital form and maybe 2 games in the real world as far as Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm by no means an expert. Yeah, it definitely needs a timer. It just some number counting down, and I suspect we'll see in less than a month that there is more of an indicator there. Otherwise, this game is dead in the water. Like, nobody's going to stick around to play these games if somebody can just stall you out and start a game and then give up and stop playing. Yep. Everything here looks good. I'll admit that. We're not really getting stories about Yugi Kaiba, so all the anime and manga stuff is being left in the background. It maybe is in solo mode, but it's clearly fairly easy to avoid. Yeah. Tourmaline, Gym Knight. What does this card do? Why is this Thunder Fusion effect card put here on this line? Is that because you can only have one fusion effect card in play at a time? That might be it. And they want it to be in a different lane. I guess that might be it. I don't know. There clearly is a specific place for different cards that they've created here. So that you have to put cards that are like summoned from the graveyard in a specific place, or that way you can't move cards around and confuse your player as far as where they came. But if that was the case, then why is this guy now here on the field if he was always supposed to be here? Yeah, clearly there's not enough of a tutorial if there's an entire square that I don't have a clue how it works, plus another square that I only sort of think I understand how it works. Music sounds good. I'll grant him that. It could be a little too upbeat though. If you were playing for 2-3 hours and you're hearing this song a lot, that could be a problem. Certainly. They definitely are playing very conservatively from a perspective of actually trying to guarantee a win instead of risking a win. But you can almost assume that the character Immortal at the bottom is going to lose now because he's played all of his options except for that one trap card. But Trigger is not taking advantage of that and summoning something to attack, or which maybe means that his face down card is a very, very weak card, or it's a flip trap card, or it was a defense card with a lot of defense but not quite enough. We don't see a concede button here. Let's see. Maybe if you were playing, you could actually see a concede button, because that would be something you would want to make in the menu instead of having people have to slog through a game that they don't want to play anymore, or make people just exit the app completely to concede. That's kind of ridiculous. Again, I have no idea why this card would I don't understand why it would be here. Okay. We spectated, we're leaving. That was what we were supposed to do for the mission. And yet, it seems like that didn't work. What did I do wrong? Dismantle a card, spend card points to generate a card. Spectate Duel Live 01. Did I fast forward and that's why that didn't count? Or is Duel Live something different? Seems like it might be something different. Alright, well, let's see how this really plays out, and we'll play. Okay, switch our starting deck to Link Generation. Might as well, instead of just playing the starting deck, which we should play the starting deck once, but not a lot of reason to do that. Here we can see there's 2 tiers on Rookie, there's then 5 tiers in Bronze, 5 tiers on Silver, 5 tiers on Gold, and 5 tiers on Platinum. So if you could start your first month without paying anything and get somewhere between tier 3 or 4 of Silver, you'd probably be doing great. Any higher than that, you would be doing excellent. And almost certainly there are rewards, although I don't know what the rewards are, and then the ranks will reset eventually. I'm not sure how long a season is going to be. Then match history will be nothing, and then rewards list. Let's see. With a promotion to rank 1 by 131 by this season, when promoted up to rank 1, you will receive, this is a reward you will receive, which they're talking about this one here of 300 gems. So you kind of start with 300 and then you have to get the bronze 5 before you get any more. So just playing gives you 300 gems, which is basically 3 packs. And it's compounded, so it's not like even if you're getting all the way to the final platinum tier 1, which that you're getting a significant amount of rewards. And there's no packs or anything else, but you'd think it'd be more. It starts at 5 and goes to 1. Okay, those are all easy enough things to figure out. 30 seconds to find a duel. Found one fairly quickly. Immediately it's a Japanese person or a Japanese name. He won the flip coin. He's going second. We're both brand new players. What's this 480 all about? Is this the timer? Is there actual timers already added to the game? And it's just the replays don't have timers? Yeah, it's a timer. So, yeah. It may be just that it's a ridiculously long timer. Yeah, and I think they're going to keep things fairly simplistic. What's this one? 18, 17, 20. Let's go and summon that. And it is jumping over fairly quickly here, because I can't do anything. And is he gonna activate something, or? So these are see-through transparent things. I guess we'll proceed to the battle phase. Oh, so it switches back and forth. So we still are on turn 2. It's just that it is switching the movement backwards and forwards, and we are playing with 8,000 life points. Interesting. Alright. I wish there was another button to just end the turn, but whatever. 2 clicks is 1 click too many, but not that crazy. What does this really do? This one shuffles the monster back in there. Graveyard, negate the attack, then special summon up to 3 spool tokens. So we kind of would want 3 of these in the graveyards. They can't be tributed for tribute summon. So clearly what we want to do is put this on the field, and then tribute summon for a stronger character. Does that say target 1 face-up monster? It gains 1,000 attack and defense until your next standby phase. What does Link Streamer do? You can special summon. Yes, activate that. And then I assume we want that in a face-up defense position. And then this gains 1,000 attack or defense. Let's see. Battle phase time. Can we attack with both of these? What does this one do? The monster declares an attack, shuffle. Target 1 monster, shuffle it into the deck. Yes, let's activate that. And then shuffle that one into the deck. And then do a direct attack instead. And then do a direct attack instead. And then I don't believe we can do anything else. So let's just end the turn. See, it's not that hard to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just people seem to play a little too conservatively. Now, we don't know if I lose this game, do I lose ranks? I don't think you do, though. I think it's just every time you win, you get 120 points. You need about 100 to move up the ranks. Each level, at least for a while. So what do we click here? Yeah, not a lot there. So that moved me up to grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. So we got to grade 4 immediately, and we already have the gold. I imagine if I hadn't purchased the battle pass, you would have been able to go back and collect these rewards anyways. But yeah, as long as we kind of commit to this and get all the way up to level 100, that battle pass for the first battle pass makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make that much sense later on. We have like a couple of, what are these? This ticket allows you to purchase a legacy pack. What will your legacy be? Interesting. Alright, so that's kind of a pathetically short battle, but it definitely has moved us in the right direction. As far as daily quests, win one ranked duel is now done. And so that's just completed and eliminated. As far as the campaign, that's eliminated and completed and removed. And that's done. So this list will just get smaller and smaller. As far as unlimited missions, we destroyed one opponent's monster on the field. Like, this is gonna be really easy. Activated one trap card. Yeah, special summoned one monster. Summoned two monsters. And then we dueled in one ranked duel. Yeah, this is gonna be very easy to get all the missions done. And then bonus packs are legacy packs. And there's, I don't think, any reason here to wait until you have like 10. Because I don't think you're going to get a bonus. The list here of legacy cards is only about 4,000, and some of these are going to be fairly limited cards. So I wouldn't be surprised if you finish out the legacy collection way quicker than you finish out the Master Duels collection if you just opened a ridiculous amount of packs. Do the odds of getting a good pack go up or go down if you open more packs? I wonder. That's an interesting thought. Of course, you got a problem here. These legacy packs literally included only 2 cards. That's not a lot. In fact, it's not really even worth the animation. Maybe I should have held off, and if I had like 3 bonus packs, it would have given me 3 cards in each pack. Maybe if you get like 100 bonus packs, you'll get 100 cards in each pack. I doubt it. That'd be very silly. Let's see. Go ahead and receive all that. And then at rank 50 you get this guy, at rank 100 you get this guy. So we have 73 days more. And was there something else we should buy at the shop? Well, if you have something that's 4, 4, and 4, like ties to Mother Nature here, and then you have something that's 5, 4, and 4, I guess your idea here would be to look at any of these packs and which ones have these meters the highest. I guess it would be this one. So do I really want to buy 10 packs of this secret pack, the Infinite Void? instead of buying normal packs. Yes, that would be true. Instead of buying structured packs. No, I think you buy the structured decks because at least that gives you different decks to play. Like, go ahead and just purchase that. And quite a pathetic screen for doing that. And just go ahead and purchase that. Quite a pathetic screen for doing that. But yeah, I couldn't imagine. I could see myself maybe wanting to get a card protector if they just are not going to ever give me anything that looks good compared to the generic background. I could even think about maybe spending 50 gems to get an icon, but getting different fields, I mean, probably not. It has been incredibly easy, though, I have to say. Incredibly easy to not really spend a ton of gems here. My only slight, or not spend any real world money, my only slight mistake here is I should have bought only one of these. And then when that opened up some secret packets, I should have then bought 10 of each secret packets. And I think I still very possibly, if I played a lot, could open up 10 of at least one of these secret packets. And probably not all of them. But yeah. If I hadn't just opened all of these so that the timer started the same, then a couple weeks down the line, if I'm still playing the game, which everything seems to be a go that I'd still play the game, so far so good, I would buy the next bundle, and then that would have opened up just a few more. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if these secret packs actually stick around. So that's where I'm going to end this recording because I don't want to actually roll into 3 hours. We'll make another spotlight episode and we'll go through all the solo, I think, and maybe play a ranked game at the beginning and a ranked game at the end, just as warm-ups. But I don't think there's too much else to do. I don't want to do the survey until I've done the solo section, but then I would want to do the survey and see if that gives me more rewards. This does feel like, though, that this just on the daily missions and quests is going to reward me, maybe not particularly well, but it will not ask a lot here. Destroying a card in ranked duel is super easy. Activating spells in ranked duels is super easy. Just dueling 3 times in ranked duels is super easy. We're not seeing any major like daily quests requirements that are like get 3 victories in a row, get 5 victories, not in a row, but getting 5 victories every day is kind of asking too much. Also, while there may be daily quests in this game, they may not actually require, they may stack, they may not actually expire after 24 hours. A lot of collectible card games push you very hard to play every single day. It is not my style to spend every single day playing a collectible card game. The only thing I need to research is if Master Duel is actually on mobile phones, and then even then I might play every day if I could, but I doubt I'd even do that, because while I do live stream and talk about video game news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and play a collectible card game, probably going forward, this collectible card game, I don't want to spend the time I spend live streaming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday also playing collectible card games on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are the days where either I take a break off, if I ever do take a break off, very rarely I do, or I'm pre-recording footage for the other games I cover on my channel. So I don't want to turn my channel into 100% collectible card games or Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, once again, this is also very potentially temporary. I still think the Marvel card game would be way more popular and get a much larger audience compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! Particularly in the West. And so when the second dinner Marvel card game is released, day one, I'd almost certainly jump ship to that. But until then, we may have a few weeks, a few months, even a year or two playing this game, which would be fine. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list, or gift me a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.